Racing wheels. It's quite a niche market when it comes to game controllers, but for the people who are racing game enthusiasts, the racing wheel is the most important part of their setup. So, will Logitech's newest racing wheel, the G29, be worthy to take the place in a racing setup? Let's find out. When Logitech sent us their G29, the inner gearhead in me was curious because I have a G25 at home. Now, I didn't buy the G27 because there weren't a lot of big differences between the 27 and the 25, but the 29, the G29, brings a completely different button layout, plus the shifter is now optional. So in the box we find the wheel, the pedals, a power adapter, and some documentation. There seems to be a bit of extra empty space in the box where I guess a shifter module would have been included if the G29 came with one. Let's start with the pedals. The unit overall hasn't changed much since the G25. You still have from left to right the stainless steel pedals for the clutch, brake, and throttle, and on the bottom, it still has the patented retractable carpet grip system and rubber feet. There are only two changes. The red accents on the back of the pedals are now black, and the brake pedal itself is now non-linear, meaning it gives you a more realistic brake response. Onto the main attraction, the wheel. This is the biggest change. All the buttons and controls are now located on the wheel and not on a separate module. You still have the 900 degrees of rotation. They kept the RPM LED display at the top from the G27. It's got the leather wrapped wheel, paddle shifters, but now all the buttons you find on a PlayStation controller are transposed onto the wheel in different locations. Plus, they also added a 24-point selection dial and plus and minus buttons. They even included a stripe for a visual cue to indicate which way the wheel is pointed in. Personally, I didn't use that at all, but it was kind of cool. And at the top, just above the RPM display, you have a selection switch for PS3, PS4, or PC. Well, technically PS3 and PS4. If you switch over to PS4, it counts it as PC. Moving on! The user experience. Now, just a disclaimer, we don't have any racing games installed on our systems, so I had to dig through my pathetic collection of Steam games and installed Grid 2, which is a game that we are actually all familiar with here at the studio, and a super duper old favorite of mine, Test Drive Unlimited 2. After installing said games and installing the Logitech gaming software, which you can find from Logitech's website, I loaded up Grid 2. Let me tell you, the experience was a bit frustrating. For some odd reason, I couldn't get the menu selection to stop scrolling up. It just kept going up, and when I actually managed to guess my way into a race, the viewpoint of the car was from the right-hand outside passenger window side, making it quite hard to race with. I couldn't find any online documentation about this problem, so I just moved on to Test Drive Unlimited 2 because I really wanted to try this out as soon as possible. With Test Drive Unlimited 2, it was a bit better experience, although it still had some glitches for some reason. There was no game profile that you could load from the Logitech software, but that wasn't going to stop me. So I started up the game, went to options, to the controller section to detect the wheel. I pressed detect, nothing. The PC would only detect the keyboard. So I restarted the PC, started up the game again, and same thing. Now, it wasn't until my 5th or 6th PC restart where I finally decided to try and rebind the controls, even though the game wasn't detecting the G29, and for some odd reason, this worked. Hallelujah! Now, Grid 2 and Test Drive Unlimited 2 are older games, so I guess I can't be too hard on the plug-and-play compatibility of the G29. I'm sure, however, that more modern games for PC, like Project Cars, will be a lot better. Moving on to the console side of things, we grabbed our PS3 from storage and put in my personal copy of Gran Turismo 5. And this was truly plug and play. No hassle, no glitches, just pure rubber burning on tarmac. The wheel actually feels the same as my G25, except the G29 is a bit quieter, and the dual motive force feedback was a bit more realistic. The only thing that didn't work with the PS3 was the RPM LED indicator, which is fine since I don't remember GT5 supporting this feature anyways. But here's the real question. Is the G29 going to replace most people's racing setups if they already have an existing wheel? The short answer is no. I think that the G29 is priced a bit high for the average enthusiast, and it doesn't come with a shifter, a point which I've made very clear time after time, which I can actually understand since the shifter is now shared between the G29 and the G920, the Xbox version. And all the buttons have been moved directly onto the steering wheel, so there really isn't need for, well, Something like this, where the controls are actually on the shifter module. This is my shifter from the G25. Oh, and by the way, the shifter from the G25 doesn't work on the G29. I thought I could get away with it since the connectors are the same, but it doesn't work. This is a bit disappointing, but hey, what are you gonna do? So where does that leave us? Well, Logitech is still selling their G27 and it's priced reasonably. It might be a bit louder, have less buttons on the wheel, and a standard brake pedal, but the money you save, you can buy a lot of Mountain Dew and Doritos. Plus, you get a shifter at no extra cost. That's a point I'm really trying to hammer home here. But hey, if you want all sorts of buttons at your thumb's reach, I'm not going to stop you from picking up a G29. In fact, you can click here or down in the description for more info about how to buy one from NCIX or even buying a G27, which we still sell. But that's about it. Leave a comment down below. Are you into racing games? If so, what kind of setup do you have at home? Check out previous videos over here, follow us on Twitter over here, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this from NCIX. We'll see you later. Oh, the shirt, it's a Logitech shirt. They're not actually sponsoring this video. I got this at PAX. Figured it was appropriate. I'm gonna go.